What's up, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and today's guest will be fighting Fabio Aguiar at Bellator 282 on June 24th. I am pleased today to be joined by Aaron Jeffery here today. Aaron, thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate the time. I know it's the first time doing one of these interviews. Looking forward to the conversation. And hey, promotional debut, so it's a lot of big things going on for you. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So we'll start right there with this whole debut here. So obviously it's a major fight promotion, very well known. Just how excited are you to be fighting in this big promotion like Bellator?
I'm pumped, man. It's been a long road to get here. I've been doing this stuff for many years. I've been fighting professionally for 7 or 8 years. So to finally get on to one of the big stages is great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right? I mean, you've been in a lot of like great feeder promotions like the LFA. You had a Cage Fury fight or two in there in the mix as well. Everybody knows you had the two chances for the UFC contract at Dana White's Contender Series. A lot of great, smaller stuff there. Now to finally be on this big stage, it has to be exciting for you.
For sure, man. Again, like to be doing it for this long and finally get the opportunity is huge. It's what every fighter is in the sport to do, right? To get on one of the big stages. So yeah, I'm very excited for this.
So, whenever you start a new promotion, right, it's obviously unfamiliar territory to a degree, right? It's a different cage, different arenas, maybe the way they operate is different. What's kind of like the mindset when you head into a new promotion, kind of how you get yourself ready for this unfamiliar territory?
Honestly, man, it's kind of normal for me at this point. Like you just named some of the promotions I fought for. I've kind of bounced around my whole career. I've never really had like a home, right? So it's kind of like par for the course for me at this point to be learning the ropes every time I go to a new place.
And one of the things that I always wondered, and you'd probably know this firsthand, right? Whenever you fight different promotion, I know there's obviously different things, but the cage is the cage being different? Like, does that ever throw a fighter off loop or anything like that? What's it like being in a different cage each time?
Not really, man. The only thing that I would say that I ever noticed about a cage is some of the promotions have like the plasticky mat on it. It can get slippery. But I mean, other than that, like the size of the cage or if it's a circle versus an octagon, like any of this shit, you don't really notice it once you're in there.
Gotcha. So now let's kind of get into this fight specific stuff here. We'll start with your training camp. Obviously, starting to wrap things up now, right? It's a few weeks now till fight night at the time of recording this. Just talk about your camp and how it's been going so far.
It's good, man. It's been really good. I feel good. My body feels good. I'm not banged up. Like typically towards the end of camp, I'm starting to feel kind of burnt out and tired and shit. And I feel very good right now. I did a couple months down at Stanford in Florida. Got a lot of work with a lot of high level guys. Kind of tuning things up here back home right now. And yeah, I feel good.
And we'll get into that Stanford MMA stuff too in just a second. I do want to just ask one more with this whole specifics here. Talk about your opponent a little bit and what you've kind of seen out of him as you've been scouting him now for the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's got a really good record. He's 18-2. He's had a couple fights in Bellator. He's well rounded. He can do everything. He looks decent on the feet. I'd say he's more of a grappler. I think he's a black belt. Looks like he wants to get the fight to the ground in most of his fights. So yeah, he's a tough opponent. I'm ready for anything.
And now, right before we get into the whole Stanford MMA move, I did want to ask you, obviously, about being from Niagara top team, Jasmine Davis. I know, kind of like that was her goal to put the gym on the map, and she did it when she got her UFC contract. She's now in the promotion there. Obviously, you're another big fighter at the gym, now getting your chance in the big promotion. But I did want to ask about Jasmine, just what it's been like watching her success over the last few years.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great to see anyone from the gym finding success, right? I'm really close with her and her boyfriend, who's actually my coach too, Chris Prickett. I lived with them for a while, so yeah, we're all very tight knit, and yeah, I've kind of watched her progress very quickly from like her first few amateur fights, and now she's on the biggest stage in the world, and it's very cool to see.
All right, so now I do want to ask about that whole Stanford MMA move. I know we were talking before we went off air. You're hoping to make it more of a regular thing. You said you got about a month in, came back home, went back down for like another month or so. What was just that whole experience like of getting to work with those high level guys down there? Because it's, I mean, so many of them all across your weight class too. A lot of guys are at least in close weight classes there. I mean, all it seems like a lot of the best guys in the world are down there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. you're always kind of nervous going into a new gym like that. You don't know how the guys are going to be, if they're going to be trying to take your head off or kick your ass because you're the new guy. But everyone was super welcoming, very nice group of people there. The coaches are awesome, like a very nice facility, and just so many high level guys, man. There must have been like 15 or 20 middleweights that are all like high level fighters, UFC, Bellator, ONE FC. So yeah, it's great.
And I was wondering what the biggest takeaway was from the gym too. I know one of the first fighters I ever interviewed from the gym was actually Ian Gary before he made his UFC debut, and he was saying like the biggest takeaway for him was the fact that like he needed a question in jiu-jitsu. Like Gilbert Burns is right over there. It's something with striking. Michael Chandler's right over there. There was all these like guys that are so great in a specific area that he was able to go and kind of ask. Obviously, the coaches down there are great and fantastic too, but like having those high level guys down there to ask those types of questions was so beneficial to him. What would you say your biggest takeaway was?
For me, it's like it's good to have the bodies. Like there's not too many big guys up here at my gym, so I'm always kind of like texting guys and making sure I have people in the gym for me. So it's nice to go there and know like every single day I show up at the same time in the same place. There's going to be a lot of training partners. But it's like, for me, it's a big confidence boost to go down there and train with these high level guys, and I can hang with everyone in every situation. Like I can wrestle with the wrestlers, I can strike with the strikers, and I feel good everywhere. And it just confirms that I'm doing the right work.
And now finally, to start wrapping things up here, I did want to ask about something I saw on your Instagram. You're actually a nutritionist. How did you get involved with doing that? Obviously, and a lot of people that get into that, it's like a big passion of theirs. What led to you becoming a nutritionist?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to do something like health related. In high school, like biology was what I liked, and the human health stuff and whatever. And I went to university and I studied medical sciences. And then when I got into fighting and started cutting weight, I got more interested in nutrition stuff. I started kind of like studying and reading on my own, and I did a sports nutrition certification. And it kind of just progressed over the years.
And here's a nutrition question for you. It was funny, actually. I was telling the story today. Somebody was talking about something with a diet, and they were saying how they realized they were having problems somewhere, ended up being like a dairy problem. And then I thought, I'm a big Green Bay Packers football fan, and I remember a couple of years ago, Aaron Rodgers was talking about how he cut dairy out of his diet completely, and a lot of people have been saying this kind of over the last few years. I just want to get your take on this whole dairy thing, whether it's exactly good or bad, if that's a myth or not, and what exactly goes behind that.
Yeah. Someone asked me this the other day, actually. There's a big study that I think was posted pretty recently, like a meta-analysis. So it's like a conglomeration of like a lot of studies that have been done over the years. And dairy is pretty consistently associated with better health. So I think dairy is probably a good thing. Obviously, it depends on the type of dairy too, right? Like ice cream versus like Greek yogurt or something. And a lot of things are individual too. Certain foods are going to make people feel shitty. Certain foods are going to make people feel better. So I think there's a lot of just kind of tailoring things to the specific person.
And the fact that you're a nutritionist too, how much does that help? That, well, number one, you obviously have to pay somebody to go along and do a lot of those things, but as terms of weight cutting, getting your weight down, and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I mean, I can't compare myself to if I didn't have the knowledge that I have. But yeah, weight cuts are easy for me, man. I cut like I think it was like 202 this morning. I cut to 186, and it's easy for me. It takes me a week. I don't really have to cut my calories. It's pretty much just water manipulation. I don't even usually end up sweating any weight at the end. I wake up on weight usually on weigh-in days. So yeah, it's nice.
So take us through this process for anybody that just heard you say that, right? 202 down to 186. Obviously, in a week span, that's a lot of weight to get off there. I know a lot of it is more water weight, but just kind of how do you go about from the start of fight week to weigh-ins, getting that weight off like that?
I can't disclose these trade secrets, my friend.
Understandable. But anyway, man, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun here talking today. One last thing now before you roll out, go ahead, plug your social media so people know where to follow you at. If you have any management, sponsors, coaches, teammates, you got to give shout outs to. Floor is yours.
Yeah, everywhere, social media at AAJ MMA. Check me out there.
All right, Aaron, thanks so much for the time here today, man. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys watching today's interview. If you liked it, please go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And just a reminder, like I always do, MyMMANews.com. Great website. You guys know the drill. Keep going there. Make sure you go to our social media pages. Give us a like and a follow as well. We'll see you later, everybody.